Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Introducing from Atlantic City, New Jersey, weighing in at 210 pounds, your Italian hero, Joey Image!
Hey guys, welcome to episode 17 of the podcast. I am your host, Joey Image, and this is That Image Guy. How you all doing? How's your week been going? How was your weekend this past Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Today is, it's during the week sometime. I'm not going to say what day it is because I don't know when you're listening to this, so that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. But, how you doing? Hope everyone's doing well, of course. We have a lot to talk about today. This past weekend was a very eventful one. This coming weekend is a big one as well for me, so we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to bring up a conversation that happened on Facebook that actually happens a lot, except this particular time I didn't actually partake in it. But somebody posted the question, why is it illegal to pump your own gas in New Jersey? Now, when I used to work at a gas station, it was illegal because they didn't have the pay first before you buy stuff. Whereas now you have to go inside to the the attendant or whatever you call it, the cashier, and pay them before you pump, or you do a debit card or a credit card at the pump itself before the gas actually starts coming out. We didn't have that when I was working at a gas station. It was just you pump the gas and then you come inside and pay for however much it is. Or you pump the gas and then you ring up, you swipe your credit card or your debit card for whatever the total amount was. But the reason why it's illegal is because back then when that was going on, people would pump whatever they wanted and just take off without paying. And it happened a lot. So that is the reason, at least when I was working at a gas station, that was the reason why it was illegal back then. I don't know why it still is now, because now that stuff has been remedied. Now, again, you have to pay before you pump nowadays. So I'm not sure why it's actually still illegal, but I don't care. It doesn't upset me. There was a whole conversation going on with people that were pissed off that they couldn't pump their own gas in New Jersey and that it's illegal, and that I think it's New Jersey and Oregon. That's the only other state that doesn't allow that they're both full service only. And the reason why it doesn't bother me is because I don't work at the gas station, so why should I pump my own gas? If I wanted to pump gas in New Jersey so bad, then go get a job at a gas station. I don't understand. Like, I always use the analogy, like, I don't work at Wendy's, so I don't go cook my own burgers. So I don't work at the gas station. Why should I pump my own gas? I don't work there. That's why they hire employees to work in certain places. So I don't work in Best Buy. Should I bring up my own DVDs, or should I bring up my own, my own purchase? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then there's people that are like, well, it's stupid and blah blah blah, and there's no reason why. The reason is what I just said, because I don't work there. That's the only reason that you need. The only other time I can even think of that this happens where you have to do your own stuff at a place you don't work at is if I go to like Quick Check or a Wawa and I want to get a cup of tea because I don't drink coffee, I have to make the cup of tea myself. That also bothers me, but unless I go to Dunkin' Donuts, that I don't have a choice. And I do go to Dunkin' a lot, and I get tea there as well, and they make it. You know why they make it at Dunkin' Donuts? Because they work there. That's their job. I don't understand people that, I guess, don't understand why it's, like, illegal or whatever, or why it's not a big deal. If you want to pump your own gas, pump your own gas. I can care less. I won't do it unless I'm in a state that requires it. That's all. But, again, I don't work there. Same thing with Panera Bread. Christ, Panera Bread is another place. That's a place I'll never go back to. Went there one time. I'll never go again. That's another place where you have to make your own stuff. Bullshit. I don't work at Panera Bread. I'm not making my own food. You work there, you make it. You're an employee. You have that job for a reason. Here's a story for you. I go into Panera Bread, 2008, 2007, something like that, with my girlfriend at the time. We walk in. I ask for a toasted plain bagel with cream cheese. I wrote a whole blog about this years ago on the website Easy Journal, which has since been deleted, and now I don't even know if it's gone, if it's back now, but it was deleted years ago, and I lost every blog I wrote, which there was a whole ton of them. But this was part of it. So her and I walk into Panera Bread. I asked for a plain bagel toasted with butter. I'm sorry, plain bagel toasted with cream cheese. They literally just give me a plain bagel and a plastic knife and a plate, and that's it. So I say, oh no, I wanted this toasted with cream cheese. So she says, "Oh, I can toast it for you, but the cream cheese is over there." I go, "Toast it? You didn't even cut it for me. Like you can't even cut it in half for me." She's like, "No, they have little toasters over here." So she shows me like they have these little toaster deals where you put the thing in and it goes through like a roller, like a heat roller, and that toasts it, and then it comes back out the other side. I've had these at jobs I've worked at. So she's like, "Well, I can put it in the thing for you." So basically, I guess she thought I didn't know that I could just put it in the toaster and it'll toast. I was like, "Look, I know how to do it, but I don't work here. I'm not an employee. Why do you have a job here if the customers are going to do their own shit?" And then, so she puts it in the thing for me, toasts it, and then she tells me the cream cheese is over there on the little, whatever you call that thing, the little island thing in the middle of the floor where all the condiments and the the stuff, the sugar for the coffee and all that crap is. And I'm like, "You can't put cream cheese on it for me?" And she goes, "Oh, no, it's over there." Dude, I said, "Really?" I said, "When do I get my first paycheck?" And she, like, didn't understand what I meant. I was like, "You know what? Here, like, I was like, here's the bagel." First of all, it was Panera Bread. It was like $4.99 for a bagel. That's why I got plain to begin with, because it was like $5. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, I go to the bagel store around the corner from my house, it's 75 cents just for the bagel itself. If I want it toasted with cream cheese, it's another 75 cents. So it's $1.50. So I'm like, you people got to be kidding me, dude. So I don't know if they even took it back or what they did with it. I just left it there and walked out. I was like, fuck this place. I'm never coming back. So I never went back. And again, that was 2007, 2008. I haven't been back since. And I probably won't ever go back. I thought that the chick was rude. That's the main reason is because I thought that the chick working there was rude. But again, I mean, I just don't understand why they expect customers at. I don't understand why, like, a Panera Bread or 48 of the United States, or a Quick Check or a Wawa, or even 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven, you got to make your own stuff too. I don't understand. 7-Eleven actually has microwaves out, so you can cook your own stuff. There's a whole island in the middle with frozen foods that you could take off and then cook. What the hell? Whose awful business plan was this? Like, hey, let's open a place where we hire people, but they don't do anything. We just have the customers do everything. Well, actually, I guess it's a terrific business plan now that I think about it. Why have let the customers do everything and pay you to do it? Fuck that, man. Are you kidding me? I'm going to go to a gas station and then I'm going to pay you when I did it myself? Piss on that shit. That's ridiculous. It doesn't, that don't work for me. I mean, again, I don't really care. If you want to pump your own gas, go for it. Do it. There's nowhere in Jersey you can, but go to, drive over the border to PA and do it there. That's all. Oh, my God. What else is troubling me? Anyway, so that was this horrible discussion on Facebook. But I want to get into my weekend real quick because it was a very, very eventful and exciting one. Friday night, I went to Chiller Theater, which is a, it's almost like all right, it started out as a horror convention. So horror movies, horror actors, horror comic books, whatever. That stuff was all there, people doing autographs and blah, blah, blah. Now it's gotten so big, and I think it's been going for 25 years now. Now it's gotten so big that it's more just pop culture. So it's still a bunch of horror stuff, but it's a lot of pop culture stuff too. Like, now there's wrestlers there. Now there's comic books. There's video game guys. There's people selling action figures. There's actors doing autographs. There's wrestlers doing autographs. There's bands doing autographs. I mean, it's really, really cool. And it's like, it used to be twice a year. I'm not sure if it still is. I think it used to be every April and October, if I remember correctly. It started off in October only because of the Halloween connection. So now it's still October, but I think it's also in April. But it's a really awesome convention. I try to go every year. I didn't get to go last year because I didn't know about it until it actually happened. But I try to go every single year. So this year I went with my girlfriend who had never been there before. I've been there probably 7 or 8 times. So I took her there this year. She thought it was awesome. She had a great time. We went Friday night. I saw a whole bunch of people I knew there. I always usually do. Got a chance to talk to Rob Feinstein of RF Video. Actually, he was doing autograph signings with Lanny Poffo and Ricky Steamboat, who I didn't get to talk to, because both times I went by their table, they were both involved in conversation and didn't want to interrupt them. But I got to see them. They were there. I did get to meet John Morrison, a.k.a. Johnny Mundo, I think is his name right now, with Lucha Underground. So I got to meet him, talk to him for a while. We have a couple of mutual friends just from being in the business. So we talked for a little bit, talked about the business and talked about, how I know certain people and how he knew certain people that we know mutually. And Lucha Underground thing we talked about a little bit. And so it was cool to talk to him and to meet him. Also met PJ Souls. If you don't know who she is, She's the totally girl from Halloween 1. The original Halloween 1, not the shitty Rob Zombie one, I mean. She's the one that was in the bed and asked her boyfriend to go get a beer, the guy had glasses. And then when he came back, Michael Myers killed the boyfriend. Then when he came back, put on the glasses, and she thought it was the boyfriend, but it was actually Michael Myers. And she took the blanket off of her chest and showed her boobs. That's that girl. So she was there, and she was like totally cool. Pictures with her were free. So I took one of just me and her, and then one of my girlfriend and her. My girlfriend, myself, and her. And again, her pictures were free, so that was cool. I also got to see my buddy Dave, and that's Dave Niebuhr of the band Dog Eat Dog, as well as Mucky Pup. I get to see him there, so that was, of course, cool. I see Dave there almost every year. I see him once every week, maybe once every other week, because he comes to there's a Quick Check convenience store in my town that he frequents, that I frequent. So there's a lot of times where I go in there to buy tea or food or whatever, and I see him in there. But I've known Dave for a long time, actually. He and I used to work at a video store together 8,000 years ago, back in 95. So I've known Dave for a long time. He's the bass player for Dog Eat Dog. If anyone knows the band Dog Eat Dog, they have that awesome album, All Borough Kings. Good shit. No tricks. So yeah, if anyone knows who they are, check them out. That's Dave Niebuhr, the bass player. Tell him I sent you. So what else is going on? I hope I'm not boring any of y'all with my exciting weekend talk, but that was Chiller Theater. And again, I think it's Chiller Theater, THEATRE.com. So it's spelled like the old school way, or maybe that's the British way. I don't know. But they have, again, I think they have it twice a year. It was just this past October. No, of course it was October, because it was this past weekend, stupid. That's what I meant. I meant to say weekend. And it's like 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I only went on Friday. There's, I think a pass for the entire weekend, and I think there's one per day you can also get. A lot of people go on Saturday. That's the big day, because people are off from work, and there's always more stars there doing autographs on a Saturday. So a lot of times Saturday is more busy. I try to go on Saturdays, but I had something to do this past Saturday, so I couldn't make it Friday. So what did I do on Saturday? Saturday I went to Woodbury Heights, New Jersey, which is a 2-hour and 1 minute drive. Don't forget that 1 minute. And I attended an event. Actually, if you heard either my last podcast or 2 episodes ago, I talked about going to the South Jersey WrestleFest in the Woodbury Heights Community Center in Woodbury Heights, New Jersey. That's where I was this past Saturday. Same building, same venue, same everything, except this was South Jersey Geekfest, not WrestleFest. So South Jersey Geekfest, what is that? I assumed it was like a Comic-Con, just 45,000 tables full of comics and people at Marvel that was there, and you know, DC Comics and all this, and cosplay and stuff like that. And it wasn't so much like that. There were comics, but there were not a lot. There was a lot of cosplay going on. There was a cosplay contest. But overall, there was a lot more video games than anything else. I mean, there was a ton. There was, I mean, it's so hard to explain. Any console system you could think of was there on sale, and there were games for all of them that were also on sale. And I'm talking ColecoVision, Intellivision, TurboGrafx 16, original NES, Super NES, 64, Wii, GameCube, Wii U, everything from back in the day to current gen. The only game system I didn't see, the only home console I didn't see was probably Odyssey. If anyone remembers Odyssey, I do. I used to have one. But yeah, so it was awesome. There was so much cool stuff. I ended up not buying anything other than a T-shirt. I bought a PS2 game for my girlfriend, but as far as like buying myself any presents, I bought nothing but a shirt, which is kind of depressing. But it was almost like so overwhelming that I didn't know what the hell to buy. And they had the black. If anyone remembers the black Dreamcast, it was I have my regular Dreamcast sitting right over here. But if anyone remembers the black Dreamcast, it was the Sega Sports Edition, and it was all black, and then the front, it had the logo. It said Sega Sports and blah, blah, whatever. And in the center, like the Dreamcast logo was orange, as it usually is. But they had that. I've always wanted that version. I don't know why. I guess because the other consoles I have are black. Actually, that's not true. My Xbox 360 is white. But my PS4 it's a white PS4, but I've got a skin on it, vinyl skin, which is black. My PS2, which is that my girlfriend has, her PS2, and my PS3 are both black. So it's like everything. My 360 I don't even use, but everything else is black. So I've kind of just always wanted that. I don't really know why, but I never got it. I have the standard, white or beige Dreamcast with how dirty it is. It's not even white anymore. But this one just has always evaded me, and I've seen it like boxed for sale on eBay for like $130, and I'm like, you know what? Like I already have the Dreamcast here, even though it's the white one, so I'm not gonna pay $130 for something that I've already got, even though it's a different color. It's not something that I absolutely need. It's something that I already have, and I just kind of want the other version of it as like not as a novelty. I'm sure I would still hook it up and use it, but I don't know. I just need it. I don't know what the hell my problem is. Try to explain this. I can't freaking figure it out. Anyway, point is, it was $65 at Geekfest. No way I was paying $65 for it. I don't need everything. I don't need the cables or the controllers. I have 4 controllers already. I have all the cables because I've got a current working Dreamcast. So I don't need any of that stuff. And it was $65. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not paying that. I go on eBay, it's $30. So I don't want to pay that much either, but if that's the lowest I can find it for, then I'll just buy it for $30. And I'm going to keep looking on eBay. Maybe, actually, I should look on Craigslist now that I think about it. I didn't even think about that. But anyway, so after, let me actually finish with Geekfest first. I did walk around a lot. Like I said, I walked around probably 3 or 4 times. If any of you guys know David DeFranco, or if you watch his videos, check out his latest weekend vlog. He filmed the whole thing. There was even a cosplay wrestling event outside, which I didn't even know about. But when I walked over to David saw the ring. DeFranco, I was with him. I was with his friend Chris and his wife Tiff, who are now my friends. But we were all walking outside, and Dave's like, "Hey, there's a ring over there." And Dave's not a big wrestling fan, but I didn't even know that I saw that there was going to be this there. So I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool." So I started walking over because I was curious to see who's there, who's wrestling, and whose ring it was. So as soon as I started walking over, I see a familiar face, and I see Troy Mest, who I've known for 1,000 years. Him and Mark Mest are brothers. They've got a school, very, very good school, up in Pennsylvania. They rent their ring out a lot, and they've been workers for years. So I see Troy, and Troy gives me a giant hug. "Hey, man, how you doing?" So he gives me a big, big hug. We start talking. "Hey, I haven't seen him in a very long time. How's everything going? Hey, I heard about your neck. I heard about your back, and blah, blah, blah." So he knew he knew that I'm retired. So we talked about that a little bit, and it was just really cool to see him. Then I look over, and I see Ryan Vox, who's a guy that I hadn't met in person, but we've been talking on Facebook for, I don't know, a year or 2 maybe. He's, I don't know how new he is. I think he's somewhat new. I think he's only been wrestling about 2 years or 3 years maybe. But I always read his posts. We always talk on Facebook. He's a really, really cool guy. So it was awesome to finally hang out with him and meet him. I also saw Brittany Blake. She was there, who I feel bad because I met her 2 weeks ago at WrestleFest and couldn't remember her name. So, and she came right up and said hello to me too. "Hello, sir, how are you? Met you a couple weeks ago at WrestleFest." And I said, "I don't remember your name. I feel really bad." I said, "But I think your hair was different, and that may be what's throwing me off, because I think her hair was red and black a couple of weeks ago. And then Saturday at Geekfest, it was like blondish brown or something. So it was different color." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, it was black and red. That may be it. It was different. My name's Brittany." And I go, "Don't tell me your last name, but I know it starts with a B." And I feel bad because I don't remember. So finally, I'm like, you know what? I give up. So she's like, "Oh, it's Blake, Brittany Blake." I'm like, all right, now I know who you are. So I didn't remember her name, but she told me, and I felt like an idiot. But anyway, I got to hang out with them for a little while. We stopped, and me and Dave stopped and watched the wrestling show. And again, if you follow his YouTube, everything's on there, including a lot of the wrestling that we saw. And let me explain what cosplay wrestling even means. Because we were at Geekfest and it revolved around video games, everyone that wrestled was dressed up as a video game character. I also saw Roxy Cotton there, a.k.a. Gabby Gilbert. Well, I should say now she's Gabby Gilbert, a.k.a. formerly Roxy Cotton. She was dressed up as if anyone remembers the original NES game Ice Climber, she was dressed up as that. And she was in a tag team with another guy also dressed up as that, called the Ice Climbers. There were guys dressed up as Mario and Luigi. Brittany Blake was the Wii Fit trainer. In fact, she had a shirt that said "We Fit" on it. It was hilarious. There was Solid Snake from the Metal Gear series. Little Mac. Donkey Kong was the ring announcer. I'm sorry, Donkey Kong and Princess Peach were switched off as ring announcers, or Princess Toadstool, whatever she is called now. Man, I don't even remember everybody else, but there was so many. It was really, really cool. It was a fun event. A lot of people there, and a ton of people that had a blast. There were cheers all over the place. It was fun. It was really fun. Oh, Lucas was there from, I forget what game. Damn, I forget what game the Lucas character is from. But he's got short, like, spiky kind of hair and, like, a white and red striped shirt. And I can't see, I can see him in my head, but I forget what game it was from. And I remember I didn't know then either, and I looked it up, and I forget. But anyway, that was Cosplay Wrestling. Again, that was Geekfest. Walked around for a while. We were there for, like, 6 hours, I think. But it was a lot of fun. And I really, they do it every 6 months, I think, is what Dave told me. And someone said at the front counter, or the front, when you walk in, you pay. Someone said they're doing it again. The next one will be up here in North Jersey somewhere. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping to go to it if I can, obviously find out where it is. I'll definitely be checking out the website for that. It was sjgeekfest.com, so South Jersey Geekfest. If they do it up here, I don't know if they're going to change that to like NJ Geekfest North Jersey, or maybe they'll just change the name completely to New Jersey Geekfest and they can have it anywhere in Jersey. I don't know. But that's the word. The rumor is it'll be up here somewhere in North Jersey next year. So that was Geekfest. Left with Dave DeFranco. Went to his parents' house to grab a bite to eat real quick. Who they're not around. They were in Lancaster, Pennsylvania this weekend. So he had to go there anyway to help, because he's taking care of the pets and stuff. They have 16 cats and 3.5 dogs or something like that. Or 4 cats and 3 dogs, or 2 dogs and a half a cat and then 3 other cats. So 3.5. I don't know what it was. But he had to go there and take care of the pets. So we drove over there, got a bite to eat. I took off afterwards, and then he went wherever, and I took off because I was going to another wrestling show, except this one I knew about. The Monster Factory, the famous Monster Factory, is a wrestling school / promotion in South Jersey. It's in Paulsboro, actually, which is right by, it's literally half a mile from David's house. Which, again, I know I said we weren't there, but I'm just to kind of give you all an idea of where it is. Because I talked about his house in Paulsboro a couple of weeks ago. It's literally around the corner. So when I went there, first of all, I knew I was going to be, obviously, at Geekfest for the weekend, or for Saturday. I didn't know what I was going to do after Geekfest, because I know that Dave and Chris wanted to go to some haunted house kind of thing, and I'm not a big Halloween guy. Other than the original movie series, it's not really my holiday. It's not really a big deal to me. That and the fact that the haunted house thing was $30, which I know there was 5 or 6 different activities to do. So when you think about it, $30 ain't really all that much. But, for something that I'm not really interested in the first place, it really was kind of more than I wanted to spend. So I figured if they're going to go there, and I don't feel like going there. I didn't want to go home right away either, because I had driven. It's it's a 2-hour drive to get down there. So I didn't want to go home right away, because then I'd feel like, hey, I drove 2 hours, I hung out for 3 or 4 hours, or 5 hours, and then came home. It would feel like I wasted too much of the day traveling. So just on a whim, I had looked up the Monster Factory on Facebook. Now, I have spoken to Danny Cage, who's the current Monster Factory owner, several times about coming down there, checking out their school, going to a show maybe, or just going down there to hang out with him, meet his staff, meet his guys, meet his students or whatever. And it's just never worked out. Have never been able to actually kind of nail down a date and actually get down there. So I figure, well, you know what? They're going to go to this haunted house thing. I don't really care, so I'm going to try to find something else to do in the area. So it hits me, maybe I should look up Monster Factory and see what they're doing. So I go on their Facebook page, I go to their website first. And what do you know? They're having an event that night. Starts at 7 o'clock. Geekfest ended at 5 o'clock. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I leave Geekfest, go to Dave's house, go to Dave's parents' house, be back in time 6:30, 7 o'clock to go to the show. So things ended up being a little bit later. I didn't get to Monster Factory until about 7:30, 7:45, something like that. But I ended up going. I sent a tweet to Danny Cage and said, hey, man, how much are tickets for your show? Because I'm going to come down. Now, there was a time where I was, I was wrestling every weekend. When I was wrestling full time, which full time for an independent guy is basically every weekend, or is at least every weekend. When I was wrestling every weekend, I wanted to always have at least one weekend to myself where I didn't have to drive anywhere. So out of the 4 weekends of the month, I would wrestle 3 of them. Most of the time, I'd wrestle 3 of them. There were times where I'd wrestle, every weekend and not have a weekend off. But there were times where I would wrestle only 3 weekends out of the 4 weekends of a month. And the other time, anytime that I had free, if I ever went to a local show, an independent show, I didn't pay for tickets because there used to be this like worker discount rule, which I don't even know if it still exists, or if it only exists for certain people or what. But there used to be this thing, and we were we were taught this during training that why would you pay to get into a show to see other people do what you do? And the example given was, does a baseball player, like, for example, does Derek Jeter go pay to watch the Mets play? Probably not. He probably, if he wants to go there, I'm sure they let him right in and he doesn't pay anything. I'm not saying I'm the Derek Jeter of independent wrestling. I'm saying it's along the same lines, the same standard, same principle. So along those lines, why would I pay to go see other people do what I do? So, so that, again, that was back in the day. I understand now that since I'm retired, I'm technically no longer I'm still a wrestler. I'm just not active. So, I always offer to pay anywhere I go, any show I go to, because there are so many instances and shows I've gone to where I didn't have to pay, and now that I'm no longer wrestling, right now I'm in this position where I am required, and I'm only required by myself. No one told me this, but I'm required to give back to the business. The wrestling business gave me such amazing memories and love and pleasure and greatness and awesomeness for 15 years. So I'm at the point now where it's now my turn to give back to it. And again, no one told me that. This is just, my own feelings and what I want to do and how I feel like I should, I don't even know the word, how I feel like I should be reciprocating right now. So part of that now is paying for tickets if I'm asked to, because it's support. It's money that's going to the promotion. It's money that's going to pay the boys. It's money that's going to the ring rental, whatever they need, venue rental, anything like that. So if I'm not booked on a show, which, I still do bookings. I've done commentary at some places, so stuff like that I'll do if I'm booked. But, if it's a show I'm not booked in, I just want to go check it out, I will offer to pay. And I'll always ask how much. I won't say, hey, I'm willing to pay, because that makes it sound like I'm a dick and I'm usually not willing to pay. Like, it makes it sound like I'm just saying that to make them feel better, but it's not really true. No. I'll say, how much are your tickets? Because, again, I'm going to pay. But when I asked Danny Cage about the Monster Factory tickets, he said, normally $15, but for you, there will be a ticket at the door with your name on it. No charge, no charge, free of charge on me, or whatever he said. So I said, I appreciate that more than I can tell you, and I will definitely be there. So again, I was a little bit late getting there. Bell time was 7, doors were at 6 p.m. I didn't get there until about 7:30, 7:45. So when I walked in, obviously the event was going on. I walked in, there was a guy at the front at the ticket table. He had one ticket in his hand, and I guess he was just waiting for me to show up, because I got there and I was like, oh, there should be a ticket. And before he even finished the sentence, he held it up and it said Joey Image written on it. I was like, yes, that's me. Thank you so much. So I kind of felt bad, because it almost seemed like this guy was just sitting there waiting for like this one last person to show up so he can go in and do whatever he wanted, do whatever he was going to do. But while I walked in, I looked to my left. I saw Danny, I saw Billy Wiles, and I saw a couple of their guys, or students, I guess they were, just hanging out talking. And I didn't want to interrupt, so I just walked over and I stood behind them for a little bit, just kind of waiting. And they were like in this deep conversation, I guess, and they were just going and going. So finally, I put my hand on Danny's shoulder, and I said, hello, sir. And he turned around and saw me, and he's like, hey, man, holy crap. How are you? Good to see you. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks for coming, blah, blah, all this stuff. And then I said hello to Billy Wiles, who he knows me. We've spoken before as well. I actually know somebody that he's related to from way before I even started wrestling. So that's the Billy Wiles connection. Former ECW talent, by the way, Belvis Wesley. Or Wild Billy Wilds. So, talked to those guys for a couple of minutes. Danny was like, "Hey, man, do you want to see the whole facility?" Because they were in intermission at the time. So when I got there, I guess intermission had just started because it was probably another 10 minutes before they went back to the show. So he offered to show me around. I said, of course, absolutely. We went in the back, and as soon as you walk through their curtain, right on the left is a giant sound setup, really, really cool mixers, and, there's a couple laptops there for sound or whatever. But right behind that, on the wall, is a huge, huge screen. Like some companies have a monitor backstage, so the other boys back there can watch the show while they're lacing up, or while they're getting ready or whatever. But this place the Monster Factory's got an entire screen on the wall, which is awesome looking, really, really awesome looking. How I've never thought of that is beyond me. So he shows me that, whatever. He introduced me to a couple of guys. There were a couple of refs back there that I already knew. For example, referee Steve Chaz was there. Ref John Gazzardo was there. Stuart Campbell, the ring announcer, he was there. Those are three guys that I've been friends with on Facebook for a very long time, and a couple of them on Twitter too. I think the referees are both on my Twitter, and we've always talked back and forth. So it was cool to finally meet those guys. Actually, when I put on my Facebook that I was going down there that day, Stu, the ring announcer Stu, responded, and I didn't even see it. And when I finally did see it, it said, I think I wrote it in the morning before I left the house. And when I finally saw the post, it said 14 hours ago. I felt really bad. So after the show was over, I went in the back, and I'm like, bro, I didn't know you even responded to my Facebook. I feel so bad that I never answered you. I'm sorry. Like, I wasn't ignoring you. I was just driving. I didn't even look at it until just now. And he was like, no, it's totally cool, man. No big deal. So, so he was cool about it. Everybody was cool, actually. And just a quick note, if you're not familiar with the Monster Factory in New Jersey, I'll give you just a list of I don't know, 6 names. I'll just throw 6 names off the top of my head of people that were trained at that school that you may have heard of. You may not have heard of them, but you may have. The Big Show from WWE. Not sure if you heard of him, but he trained there. Sheamus from WWE, he was trained there. Bam Bam Bigelow, for example. Chris Candido. Raven. The Headbangers. These are all guys that were trained at the world-famous Monster Factory. That's just a short list, just to name a few that were trained. Steve Cutler, there's another one who is currently in NXT, WWE NXT. He is a Monster Factory guy. So, just in case you're not sure who the Monster Factory is, really, if you watch independent wrestling, I'm not sure how you could not know who or what the Monster Factory is. But that's who they are. But they were very, very cool to me. They were very, very respectful to me. It still amazes me, and I'll say this, in full sincerity, it still amazes me how many people in the business are so. This is gonna sound weird, but it amazes me how many people are so cool to me and respect me in the business, given the fact that A, I'm no longer wrestling, and B, I've never really done anything of merit. I've never worked for WWE. I've never worked for TNA or Ring of Honor or WCW or ECW or whatever. I've never been on Monday Night Television, or I've never been on Wednesday Night Television or whatever the day is, or Thursday or Friday. I've never been on monthly pay-per-view, but I've, worked a fucking million independent shows all over the place, and I guess that's what people respect more than I realized, I guess, other people in the business. I'm assuming, because they know what I've gone through and what they go through and what they sacrifice and everything. But it just sometimes I'm overwhelmed with the amount of love and respect that I receive, especially by a guy like Danny Cage, who I have never met in person, but we've talked, a lot on Facebook and Twitter. He's actually a guy that I went to for advice when I first came up with the concept of my Final Five. When I knew that I couldn't wrestle anymore, and I went to him for advice. He wasn't very in favor of me wrestling because of my injuries, but I valued his feedback as I valued everyone's feedback, and so it was just very, very cool of him to. I went down there, I was treated like family. From saying, "Hey, there's a ticket for you at the door," to the last thing he said to me, which was, "Go take a shirt if you want." I'm like, oh man, this is great. And then we talked. He announced at the end of their show that they're having another building open up, another Monster Factory building, and that there's possibly a TV deal in the works. But he didn't really know a lot yet, so he didn't want to mention any specifics. So I just very, very much felt like family. And Danny, if you're listening to this, thank you so much, brother. I can't wait to come back. I wish I could be there for November 7th, but I've got something to do that night. But I very much appreciate Danny's hospitality, the Monster Factory's hospitality. If there's ever anything I can do for those guys, man, I am here. I am, I'm there. I would love to somehow work there. I don't know how I could do that now that I'm not wrestling, but I don't know, maybe commentary for them or bell ringer guy. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to do the bell ringer thing. But, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Just throwing it out there that if there's ever anything I can do, I'm your guy. So definitely, if you guys get a chance, you know what? Let me actually name another couple of names. Let me throw out another couple of names of guys that are at the Monster Factory now that I think wrestling fans should keep an eye on. Again, especially if you're an independent wrestling fan. Well, first of all, like I said before, their next show is November 7th. Check out monsterfactory.org for all the info. Cliff Compton's going to be there. Formerly, I think he was Domino in WWE. He was either Deuce or Domino, but I think he was Domino. But now he's known as Cliff Compton. Everyone knows who he is. He'll be there November 7th. So again, monsterfactory.org for all the info. But I want to throw 4 names at you right now of guys that you should really keep an eye on. And this is not to slight anybody else on their roster. It's just these 4 stood out to me for one reason or another. Every single person they have there is loaded with talent. So I would not discount or discredit anyone that wrestles for that company. It's just these are the first 4 that jumped out at me that I remembered their names. Nick Camarado is awesome. He's a big dude, so he's big and like menacing. And he's got this like beard and this like floppy hair kind of thing going. I don't know. But he was awesome. Clutch Adams is a guy that as soon as he walked through the curtain, I said that guy is going to be a star. He's got a tremendous look, great body. He wears trunks, so he looks like an athlete, looks like a wrestler. I don't remember who, but he reminded me of somebody as soon as he came through the curtain, and now I can't even think of who it was. But he's got a tremendous look. Actually, I can tell you this, he reminded me of Triple H when Triple H used to wear just like the trunks or whatever. Just his look. Yeah, he was awesome. Another guy is Punisher Martinez, who was like 6'4" or 5", maybe. I'd say maybe 285 pounds, 275 pounds. Another guy loaded with talent, and then Anthony Bennett. Anthony Bennett is an all-around entertainer. He's got this giant, like if you ever seen the movie House Party, I don't remember which is kid and which is play, but the one with the tall, like high-top fade, that's what Anthony Bennett's got. And the funny thing is, this is what proves that he's an entertainer. The funny thing is, he comes out and he's got shades on his face that glow and blink and light up or whatever. But then he's got another set of shades on his hair, like on his high top, that also glow and look like they're just on his face, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And he is an absolute entertainer. I mean, he is, a lot of the guys that I saw there were wrestlers, which is what I love. But Anthony Bennett is an absolute entertainer. Awesome. So definitely, please keep an eye on these 4 names. You're going to be seeing, in my opinion, you'll be seeing a lot of them. But again, I got to thank these guys. I got to thank Monster Factory. I got to thank Danny Cage. Every single guy that I met in the back was awesome. They were all very cool to me. Again, like I said, a few of them knew me already. Most of them didn't, which is totally cool. And everybody was so cool to me, and I was very taken back by how accepted I was in their locker room. Because again, other than the guys that know who I am, most of the majority, let me go over the guys that know who I was, I should say. Stu Campbell, the ring announcer. Referee Steve, Ref John, Danny Cage. That's about it. And maybe I think only 1 or 2 guys that were on that show. So the other, 17, 18, 19, 20 people or whatever in the back that didn't know who I was or didn't know who I am, they didn't, to them, it was just some outsider walking into their locker room. I mean, for all I know, they could have thought it was just some fan that just wanted to come back and meet people, and I could have got my ass kicked. Who knows? I mean, it does happen. You've seen it happen on Raw where fans kind of just hop in the ring. It's a similar situation, for all I knew. For all they knew, I mean, I could have just been some mark that was walking backstage. But, again, I want to thank every single person in that building for their hospitality. and for treating me like I have been a Monster Factory guy for 6,000 years. And again, anytime they ever need anything that I can help with, I am there. I was so proud to be in that building. A lot of people don't know this, but the Monster Factory was the first place that I looked at when I wanted to first start training. And I only didn't go there because it was too far away, because it's a 2-hour drive. And the school that I went to, Camp IWF, run by Kevin Knight, was only 15 minutes from my house. So it made things a whole lot easier. But I would have loved to have called myself a Monster Factory graduate. And again, thank you guys so much. The place is awesome. The place looks terrific. I can't wait to see the Mount Laurel building that's coming in a few months. But again, thank you to Danny Cage. Thank you to the entire Monster Factory and their roster, and their staff, and their guys, and everybody that was down there. I really, really appreciate it, and I can't wait to come back and check out another Monster Factory event in the future. All right, so moving on. Before we wrap this up, because I'm just about all talked out here, I do want to bring up a huge event that's going on this upcoming weekend, which I will be a part of. It's called Pop Icon, and it's a convention. It's going to be at the Phillipsburg Mall in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's October 30th, October 31st, and November 1st. It opens up at 10 o'clock each day, and I'm not sure when it ends. I know Sunday it actually opens at 12 noon because of the mall hours, and it ends at 6 p.m. I believe Friday and Saturday opens up at 10 a.m. and closes at 9 p.m. I will be there all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, from 12 noon to 6 p.m. But everyone there is going to be doing autographs and taking pictures of people and selling their merchandise, and that kind of stuff. So it's basically a big meet and greet with a lot of merch for sale. There's going to be more than just wrestling. It's not a wrestling convention. It's a pop culture convention. So there's going to be artists there. There's singers. There's actors. There's comic book writers. There's book authors. But as far as the I'll be in, obviously, the wrestling section. Other names in the wrestling section that are going to be there is, like, for example, Sunny will be there, WWE Hall of Famer. She'll be there Saturday. Blue Meanie will be there. Boogeyman will be there. The Nasty Boys will be there. Myself, of course, again. So there's many more. There's going to be other wrestlers there that I can't give away everything. I don't want it to be, I don't want to give away all of it. I want something to be a surprise. But if you go to bit.ly/popicon, so bit.ly/popicon, all one word, that is a link directly to the Facebook event page, which is a public event, obviously, so everyone can see it. There's going to be so many people there. There's going to be door prizes every half hour, which is pretty cool. Every day, too, all 3 days. Door prizes, again, autographs, pictures, whatever you guys want. Whatever you want to, well, personally, I mean, I don't know how the other guys are going to be. Everyone's probably going to be different, have their own set of rules. But my deal is, like, I'm going to have pictures for $5, like 8x10 photos for $5, and I'll have my Final 5 DVDs. Those will be $15. So the idea is you get a picture and a DVD, and it's $20. So it's an even $20 bill. I don't need to make change or nothing. So I hope people follow that, that format. But, again, it's called Pop Icon. You can look them up on Twitter at PopIcon2015, PopIcon2015. And, again, the website is bit.ly/popicon. That's bit.ly/popicon. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you all hanging out with me and checking it out, listening to my psychobabble. This is, again, episode 17. I appreciate the downloads, the subscriptions. Please check me out on Twitter at JoeyImage. Check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/realjoeyimage. You can find all my links to everything social media at thatimageguy.com. It's nothing fancy. It's literally just a list of links. And that's all I need. Guys, remember, Pop Icon this weekend. Please check it out. It's really going to be an awesome event. There's a ton of cool prizes. At least check out the website. Again, bit.ly/popicon, and just look at it and see what's going on. If there's anything you like, come on down. All the info you need is on there. Again, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October 30th, October 31st, November 1st, Phillipsburg Mall, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Come on down and check it out. Thanks for listening. I love all you guys. This is your Italian hero signing off.